So my name's David Bailey, and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and 3 principles coach, and I'm here talking with a former client of mine, Raffaele, who came to see me about 3 months ago, and we've been in touch a little bit via email, and the call today was really just to explain what it is that I do and how it's able to help people, what their experience of working with me was like, and how life has been since we did our session. So welcome, Raffaele, and thanks for helping out here. I appreciate this.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and just to full disclaimer, we didn't know each other before we worked together.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so what was life like before you did the sessions with me? Because I know that one of the things you were struggling with was like panic attacks and sort of anxiety. So could you speak a little bit about what actually it was that you came to do the sessions for, and how long had that been an issue for you?
Okay, yeah, so that has been an issue for me for about 1 year, a little bit, 1.5 years before I came to see you.
Yeah.
And of course, it was not like, it was not always terrible, yeah. But sometimes I would have some periods in which I was under stress, mm-hmm. and it would not become very easy to manage, or it would prevent me from being fully able to enjoy my life.
Yeah. And
yeah, that is why I thought I could give it a go.
Yeah.
And yeah, my expectations towards hypnotherapy were, I don't know, I was also driven, I think, by curiosity, because I don't know, hypnotherapy, to most people that don't know what it is, sounds like mental trips and, I don't know, almost like time traveling.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So
in a way, I found out that partly it is a little bit like that, but it's more complicated. It's more. Of course, it's more complicated and interesting than that.
Yeah, it's a little bit more dynamic.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not like me doing something to you. It's like a collaborative experience.
Yeah, exactly. When I talk to my friends about it, they say that they would be too scared to try it. Okay. Because they think that hypnotherapy is something in which your body is, the control over your body is taken over by somebody else. Yeah. So there's somebody controlling your body with their voice, yeah. Which is actually absolutely the opposite of what hypnotherapy really is. It's a sort of collaboration. It's a constant dialogue, yeah, between the therapist and the patient.
It is. And can I just go back, like, so when you were talking about you used to get stressed and anxious, what were the kind of situations that would trigger that kind of anxiety, and what did it prevent you from doing that you actually wanted to do?
I'm a student, so for example, I was not able to focus in my daily routine.
Yeah.
And I was getting constantly distracted, and I always had this extremely nice thoughts. Yeah, pretty much that. I mean, it was not absolutely unmanageable again, but it was just very annoying. And yeah, so yeah. This much, I think.
And did you have any issues regarding like exams and or deadlines, and yeah, if you had to sit an exam?
I did not have an issue with that specifically as much as in the process.
Yeah.
So I was not extremely happy in doing it, or I don't know, I was not able, I felt like I was not in control. I could not manage the situation, or like unforeseen circumstances that would present that would come to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They seemed a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, they seem to be overwhelming.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
In a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, hypnotherapy for me has been, so far, I don't have anxiety anymore, I can tell. Or I know how to manage it.
Yeah.
Right? So that it does not get to that point when it's no longer unmanageable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, with something that, hypnotherapy is not a passive therapy, as we said, so you learn a lot about the way you think in the process. Lots of things that you take for granted and that you don't notice daily. You start paying attention to these things. And by just simply paying attention, you notice how they are constructed. And therefore you are able to control them in a way.
Yeah. It's kind of understanding your own processes more, and really being able to respond differently, not just react with whatever the unconscious habitual response that was perhaps not so helpful. And I think a lot of it is about, people talk about responsibility, and it's, if you break it down, it's your ability to respond. And in the situations where you described, where you were anxious or stressed or overwhelmed, it didn't feel like you had a choice. It was just, this happened, and then you went straight to anxiety, and there was nothing in between that would give you any options to maybe respond in a way that was more useful. So
exactly,
it is very much a collaboration and not a passive experience. So how was the actual experience of working with me for you, and how did that match what you thought it would be like before, or perhaps be different to how you thought it was going to be?
So I thought the session was going to be simply you talking to me and me falling asleep. I thought it was going to be something like this, but it was actually not. So the sessions usually started with me talking about my issues, and you providing constant feedback to these issues, but in a way without telling me directly what was going wrong or what the problem was, but giving me the key to kind of figure it out myself. In a way. And then there was, I don't know, like, how can we call the first part of the therapy? It was like, I started listening to you, and it's like you created a loop of, how do you call that?
A loop of...
Yeah. Like, because that was already hypnotherapy. Like, I was already being hypnotized in a way.
More conversationally.
Yeah, but it was more conversational in a way.
Yeah, it is. And a lot of the majority of the session is actually talking like we're talking now. It's not you with your eyes closed.
Yeah, exactly.
The majority is having a conversation and coaching you on areas where maybe you could do with some help. And really, it's not like me giving you or telling you what I think you should do, because, as you said, it's the insights that you get yourself that are going to be most valuable, and the session's almost like a catalyst to help to give you the highest probability of realizing those insights that are going to be beneficial to you.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
And so, I would say, like, most of it was based on conversation.
Yeah.
And in which, you asked me questions, I provided feedback, and and you gave me feedback, and I gave you feedback, and so forth.
Yeah.
And then there was a second part,
yeah,
which was usually a more typical, I would say, or like maybe stereotypical hypnotherapy.
Yeah.
And that, for me, that was really, really cool. I mean, the first part, of course, was useful, but the second part was the trip. I mean, not the one I was expecting, but it was a trip in a way.
Yeah.
And it was really fascinating and interesting. And that's, I think with that, I changed the way I perceived therapy, because I think in a way it's always a bit stigmatized. But now, although I don't feel anxious anymore, I would keep doing it forever because it gives you that kind of insights that you can never have access to consciously. So that was really cool. Like you how can we say? It's like a relaxation exercise. So you relax and you look within yourself, and you think about things, but you feel them, and that when you get home, that memory of that feeling is really what helps you remember that the words that we think actually have almost a physical response on our body, on our brain. And that allowed me to manage my anxiety a lot, I would say.
It's about having a different relationship to our thoughts, and not being a victim to them, but understanding a little bit more, so that you're able to not get had by them in the way that perhaps you did in the past. And especially in London, I think it's in a big city like this, it's very easy to get lost in this. We are surrounded by, we're immersed in a city where you always need to be productive. You always need to live this very fast, rushed life. And sometimes you really do not have enough time to think about the way you think about these things. That you just assume that that's the way everything goes. But then when hypnotherapy allows you to take a step back and notice that this is just produced by your thinking, your mind. And if you change that, also the world around you, outside you and around you changes as well at the same time. It's kind of like slowing down and noticing what you're doing. And by noticing that, you're able to then understand things in a fundamentally different way.
Exactly.
And so what has life been like after we've done the sessions? How are things now? How are they different now to beforehand?
I have learned that I do not simply have to. It's not a fight. I always used to think about my anxiety as a fight. Like I need to repress those feelings. And that's what perhaps made them worse in an exponential way. Now I know that it's not about fighting a feeling. It's not about pushing it back, but it's more about pulling it out and understand where it comes from. And looking at, how can I say it? Looking at how it is originated in my daily life. So looking about the attitude I have towards studying, for example. So we said it many times. I should not think of myself, of the things that I have to do as things that I have to do, but I can perhaps change my attitude towards them and think of them as things I want to do or that I can do.
Yeah.
And said it in this way does not sound very smart, or I don't know, does not sound extremely deep, but if you take it and apply to every thought that you have in your daily life, it radically changes it.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it takes a little bit of effort sometimes to notice what your thoughts are, because of course we're not completely aware of them.
Yeah.
But once you can just redirect the way you think, everything changes. And so now I don't struggle as much. I wouldn't say I struggle, actually. I haven't had one single panic attack in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've found working and studying easier.
Yeah.
And more productive.
And also, as I said it before, it's not just a therapy.
No.
Because now I'm like, how many things can I do if I keep noticing things about the way I think?
Yeah.
And so it's a really fascinating journey, I think, that anyone can undertake.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And it's really skills for life, as you were saying. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like it will only be applicable to one area of your life, because the way we think, the way we process information it's like applicable to every area of our life. And as a human being, we all have a mind, we all have a thought, and we all have consciousness. And the way those three things interact really determine our experience of the world. So it's not like it will only work for a certain area of your life and then it wouldn't work for a different area. It's exponentially able to help you understand your own emotions and the way you relate to them.
Yeah, that's
yeah, and it's great that you're not having panic attacks. That's a pretty major
yeah,
and being more at ease and relaxed and productive.
Yeah.
I know before you came to see me, you tried some other kind of therapies. Would you mind just telling me a little bit about that and how that was for you and how it was different to the work we did together?
Yeah, I tried talking therapy. There was pretty generic counseling.
Yeah.
With two different therapists, but I always had the feeling that the person in front of me was telling me how I felt, but that was not the way I was feeling, in a way.
Yeah.
So that instead of understanding what was really going on, I had to fit a certain model that was given me.
Yeah.
As in, anxiety defines who you are.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
No.
Because I know that I'm a person, that I have a brain, that I'm smart, and I can think for myself, so I don't want somebody to tell me what I am feeling like or what my problems are.
Yeah.
But I want to rather understand where these problems come from, and I don't know, it's just, I was looking for something perhaps more meaningful in a way. That was very, it was a bit, how can you say, apathetic?
Apathic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that counselling or CBT or what?
It was counselling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but as I said, like you never came to me assuming that you knew what was going on, or assuming that you knew me or you knew what my problem was. Yeah. But instead, you came forward to find it out together, to figure it out together, and that's what I really liked.
Yeah, it's like an exploration, I think.
Yeah.
Whenever I work with somebody,
you don't really come across as I'm a therapist, so I know what is happening, and I think when people do that, there's like a sort of distance that is created between the therapist and the patient.
Yeah.
I mainly see you as a person.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
I value you. I value you as a smart person. Yeah. So a person that I like to talk to.
Yeah.
In general ways.
Yeah.
In a general way. So I am happy to talk about my problems with you because none of us has an answer and we can figure it out together, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as well for anybody watching this, it's, of course, we cover we potentially may cover some heavy topics, but generally speaking, and maybe you can give me your view on this, but the sessions themselves can actually be enjoyable. It's not like crying for 2 hours telling me about everything that went wrong in your life. It's usually, if you want that, then I'm the wrong person to really come and see, because we're, as you say, like discovering things together, exploring things together. It isn't just going over your problems and then this happened and this happened, and which I've heard, like some stuff such as counselling sometimes spend a lot of time going over problems, which perhaps that's helpful for some people. Personally, I think I prefer not to do that. I try to, if at all possible, have a good time and have an exploration together. And it's not a downbeat, dour hour together, like crying into a pillow.
It's not about. I think hypnotherapy is not about locating a trauma in your past that explains everything.
No.
I think hypnotherapy is more about the process.
Yes.
And that's the key thing that is the most useful thing. It's the process itself.
Yeah.
So understanding how you think and how you construct your thinking and the things that you can do with it.
Yeah, that is very true. And it's because I kind of mixed it with 3 principles coaching, which is something a little bit different, and that's why I like to have a long conversation so that you really understand what is going on, rather than we fix this one thing and then 2 weeks later there's another problem, and we did 3 sessions together. I think they were about 2 hours for the first session and then maybe an hour or so for the subsequent sessions. Yeah.
So it's exactly, you were giving me a key to understand these things, and I was doing the work for myself, really. Yeah. Which is good, because nobody really can just come and be like, okay, I'm gonna, I don't know, push some button and you're gonna be good.
No.
It's not gonna happen anywhere.
No, it's not a magic pill, like there is some work involved, but it's interesting and it's enjoyable, and it's not come here, close your eyes, I'll talk to you for an hour and then you'll be fixed. Because if anybody tells you that that's how therapy, or that's what's going to happen, then they're lying, because that's not really going to be very useful, and probably not effective either. Yeah. Also,
I don't know, like you gave me some material at some point, like some MP3s. That I listened to whenever I had time. And those were helpful as well. And also your feedback after each session, you wrote me some really long emails that were very useful as well, in which you provided, like, you kind of summed up the things that we talked about in the session, and so the things that we agreed we should try and work on in the future or during my daily life.
Yeah.
And that was also very good and helpful, I think.
Yeah, because it's as much as what you do outside the session as what goes on in the session.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're somebody that was ready to actually get down, do the work, and help yourself as well.
Yeah.
And for anybody watching this, I provide feedback and help in between sessions. It's not get out of here and...
No. You were always ready. Like, whenever I wrote something to you, you always got back to me, like, within a day.
Yeah.
You're really prompt at responding, I think.
Yeah. So what are you able to do now that you weren't previously able to do?
I just don't, as I said it already, I just don't take things for granted, and by things I mean the way I think about what surrounds me.
Yeah.
And I always step back for a second and ask myself, why am I thinking this way? And this, I guess, not only allows me to control myself more, to understand myself more, but also has an extremely beneficial effect in the relationships I have with other people.
Yeah.
Because I can see, or I can ask myself why I act in a certain way with certain people, why I argued with certain people.
Yeah.
And really, I think in a way, I am also less arrogant than before. In a way.
Yeah.
And I feel more lucid about things in general. So it's a very empowering feeling in a way.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I feel not in control, because I'm not really controlling myself, but I feel like I can always figure out what is happening if I think enough about it, of course.
Yeah. So you're less, you're more conscious of the areas where perhaps you weren't before, and you're more able to choose the response.
Yeah.
Or if you are feeling bad, not get so caught up in it that you feel bad for hours on end, kind of thing.
No, exactly. It's just you realize that there is nothing that is taking over you. Simply, there's no states of mind that are taking over you, but the mind is yours. So the states of mind are like what you're actively thinking, although you're not really aware of it.
Yeah.
And as I said, I'm gonna repeat myself again. It's just really cool to do it, no matter like where you're coming from or where you want to go.
Yeah.
I will keep doing this, and I think you can do lots of things and achieve what you want with this kind of therapy in a way.
And what would you say to anybody that's watching or listening that's kind of considering hypnotherapy, maybe coming to see me, but perhaps has reservations, or kind of not sure whether it would be right for them, or whether to do it?
I think if you are curious about, if you want a quick solution, or if you want, I don't know, a medicine that is just gonna fix all your problems, then in like a couple of weeks, then perhaps hypnotherapy is not the right way. And I don't think there's perhaps other therapies will give you the illusion that it works this way, but I personally don't think they do. If you are curious and if you want to undertake a journey and understand yourself more, and I would say improve the relationship that you have with yourself more, then go for hypnotherapy. Because it really allows you to understand a lot about little things that you don't have usually time, or that you just never noticed before, that are invisible to your eyes. And you will see the deep implications of these tiny details that usually we don't really catch.
Great. And so if anybody's watching this and they'd like to get in touch, then they can email me. There'll be a link below the video which you can get in touch and send me an email. I'll get back to you and we can take it from there. So Raffaele, thank you for this. I really appreciate this. I'm going to stop the recording. I appreciate you taking the time out, and if you hang on the line, I'm just going to stop the recording though.
Okay.